Hey everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. I was at the trail the other day and just kind of thinking about random things, and one of the thoughts that came to my mind was back in the day in youth group, we had this awesome game where we were given this random object and we had 1 minute to create some awesome message based around whatever that object was. And originally I wasn't chosen for this, but the other two, they they had a hard time coming up with something. As you can imagine, like you're given something random, like a PB&J, for example, and you had to come up with some crazy awesome message to preach in 1 minute. Luckily for me, I had a lot of time to actually think about what this could look like or what it could be, and what I ended up coming with is just kind of the balance of grace and truth. And as I was thinking about this while walking the trail, I was thinking of feedback and how feedback kind of has to be this balance, like a PB&J of grace and truth. You can't have too much sweetness, too much of the jelly, and you cannot have too much of the peanut butter either. So there's this beautiful balance of what a peanut butter and jelly looks like. So I kind of want to just talk about what feedback looks like and how to do that, what it looks like to grow in feedback. Because if you're like me, a lot of us don't grow up in a culture that is fueled by feedback. Instead, a lot of times it's just critiques, or you're just told yes or no, and there's no substance surrounding that. Now, why feedback? The thing is, development begins with awareness. You have to be aware of what the problem is, or aware of what you're doing, and have a gauge of knowing, is this good or is this bad? Is this better or is this best? How do I know what that looks like? So feedback is a great vehicle to bringing awareness to yourself of how you can improve and how you can get better. And I think the first thing that you can do as far as feedback goes is learning how to receive it. The first and the best way to probably do that is try to actually assess yourself. A lot of times we may do something but not actively think about what we're doing. We finish whatever we're doing, we complete the project, and we put it aside, we're saying we're done. And the most important part is probably actually going back, looking at it and saying, okay, is this the best that I can do? Is there a way that I can improve? Because oftentimes we know that we do something and we're like, oh, that was a stupid mistake. And we don't think about it again. We don't think about it the next time that we try that project. As we try to move forward, we forget about it and we might make the same stupid mistake again. So the first thing is just learning to is actually assess yourself, assess where you're at and what you're doing. The next thing I think is best is actually learning to listen well. When somebody is giving you feedback and letting you know, okay, hey, here's the things that I've noticed that you did, we want to actually listen well and understand that it's not an attack to us personally, but instead understanding that that person wants the best for us, that they want us to actually grow and improve, and we have to go into it with the right mindset to listen to everything that they're saying. Whether it's good, bad, maybe it's somebody you don't like, maybe it's somebody that you do like, there's usually always some kind of truth that is in that feedback that they're giving you. Lastly, as far as receiving feedback, try to ask great questions. If you ask great questions, you can learn better things or maybe greater detail of what they're trying to tell you. If you don't understand something that they're communicating to you clearly, you need to ask that question and say, okay, I hear that you said this. Is this really what you mean? So it's asking those questions to clarify and make sure that you actually listen. It kind of ties into making sure you listen well. If you ask those questions and repeat back to them what they said to you, it helps them understand that they communicated clearly to you what that feedback looks like, and also that you received and heard that feedback that they gave to you. And I think after you understand kind of how to receive feedback, you are set up to a better position to actually give that feedback to someone else. And I think kind of starts in the same way. Ask them to assess themselves. Ask them, okay, hey, what did you think? We just went through this process. We just did this. How do you feel about it? What did you think? And oftentimes this actually opens a person up to say, okay, actually I do realize some of these stupid things that I've done, or these are some of the great things that I've done that I really liked. And it's learning to train both of those. Oftentimes we think feedback is going to be just negative and the things that we did wrong, but feedback is also important in the fact to be positive as well, to know the good things that we're doing or the great things that we're doing. That often gets left behind in feedback because for whatever reason we like to focus on the negative. We forget that we do need to learn about the positive things as well. So first ask them, hey, what did you think about what just happened, what just transpired, and what do you think could be better? What do you think was great about it? And then that's your turn to listen well, listen to what they're really saying, because something that they say could, one, be something that you didn't even pick up yourself, when you're listening or paying attention and getting ready to give feedback. Or they might be saying something that you're going to say to them, and then later you can just affirm and say, hey, I did notice that too, and it's good that you noticed that as well, and here's how we can improve on it. Third, it's similar to receiving feedback, is asking great questions to what just happened, helping them kind of feel their way through to actually learning to give themselves feedback, because it's crucial to actually learning and growing, because not at all times do you have someone readily available to give you feedback on what you're doing. So ask great questions to that person so they can ask themselves those at times that you may not be available to give that feedback. From there, you want to start applying the peanut butter and jelly to it. You want to apply the jelly, which is grace, saying like, hey, totally understand I was where you were at one point, and totally understand how that doesn't work out, or that doesn't make sense, or that is a dumb mistake and I've done that before. It's the grace to it, it's saying, okay, yeah, I totally understand. And then the peanut butter part is going to be the truth of it. Like, okay, here's the facts, here's what really happened. It has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with who you are, but just here is what happened. And the balance of those two had to be just right to help actually deliver feedback great, which is why I think is a great illustration for what feedback is. It's like a great peanut butter jelly, one that has a balance of the grace and the truth of what just transpired. And the last thing I think should be done as far as giving feedback to somebody is clearly communicating what the next step should be, or clearly communicating what should be improved on. We don't want to say, hey, that was good, or hey, that was bad, but instead we want to have the details of, okay, hey, you spoke really fast when you just gave your speech, when you gave your talk. Take some deep breaths possibly throughout your speech or during your talk, or remember to slow down and think about each point as you go across it. Because I know that it's something for me that is something I have to work on. I generally get passionate and excited about what I'm doing, and I can speak really fast, and then somebody doesn't pick up on what I'm trying to tell them. So clearly communicate what improvements can be done. Don't leave them hanging of something vague like, hey, just do better next time. We clearly want to understand, okay, this is what was awesome, and this is what can be improved on. And I think having those balance of those things, having that grace and truth, will have excellent feedback to help one another actually grow and challenge one another. So how can you work on your development and your awareness and your feedback today? What does that look like to you? What are some things that you may struggle with as far as feedback goes? And then how can you practice giving feedback to someone else and creating a culture for yourself where feedback is just normal, where you can help one another improve yourselves and really grow in your development and not just stay stagnant. So try it out, figure out what it's like, and really dive into it.